right, yet another exciting episode of the AMATYMA series in partnership with Bogat Radio. And what's really fascinating about these conversations is that a lot of the men, when they leave this platform, they're like, "Wow, I didn't know it was gonna feel like that." Because I think a lot of the guys come here too prepared, and you and I had this conversation outside, and you said to me, "You're not prepared, and maybe you should be." Anyway, I'm very happy to welcome a good friend of mine, a brother, someone that I've known all my life. He's known popularly in the streets as Daddy Ntja.
Easy does it, Javinizer.
So for those that don't know you, who are you and Utswagai?
So my brother, I'm your friend.
Yes,
That's who
and
I
my
am.
brother.
And your brother
Yes.
too, yeah. Well, dating Javinizer. I'm
Yeah.
from Soweto. I'm a Sowetan boy.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I'm a Joburg boy. I'm
Yeah.
a South African. I'm an African.
Yes.
And I'm a firstborn at home.
Right.
I've got a mother. I've got a brother, and my kids and our kids.
Why don't you tell us what your name is Mutwa Khosi? Like, I don't understand why you don't want to say such a beautiful name. Or my name is Mutwa Khosi Mutwagai. Like, I must introduce you. You must tell them who you are.
Let me tell you
it's
something.
a beautiful name.
I think I don't own that name.
And you should.
It's a borrowed name.
Yeah,
So
but-
I respect that name a lot, my brother.
It's borrowed how?
No, I was named after my late grandfather.
Right.
So now I don't own it. But the minute you call me Mutwakos,
Yeah,
my brother.
I invoke an emotion in
Mamela,
you.
move things,
But
my
you
brother.
do own the name because it's been passed down the generations. So like my first name is Sipho. I was named after my grandfather. I own that name because it represents the man who raised me. You know, the man who raised the man who raised me.
Yeah.
It's a legacy thing.
I think what I'm trying to imply is that I have so much respect for that name. So it's more like, you know what, yes, my brother.
Okay.
And the minute you say Mutwakos,
And then I'll call you that.
Hey, I know.
I call you Mutwa Khosi because I think in your character and in your personality, you represent the name very well. Because Umutu Wabatu,
Sure.
but also Umutu Wakhosi, which means
Sure.
you come with kingship. You carry kingship in all the things you do. And I can attest to this because I've seen how you are the mender of relationships. You are the one that questions people to say, gents, why can't you just sit and talk? And for me, that's a quality that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
Motho wa kgosi go letse kae?
Komletsane, my
Ko Mletsane.
brother.
Ntwana ko kazi?
Yeah. I grew up both in Pimville
Yeah.
and Komletsane.
Mara ba re kone o tswa kae o tlo reng? Mletsane o Pimville.
Both. I always say both.
But you have to,
I
you
always say
know
both.
Kokasi.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I always say both.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I get both.
Right.
You know, I got in touch with Pimville and Mletsane so much that go Dladling,
Yeah.
go Makriza,
Yeah.
Mletsane, and then my mother and my stepdad,
Yeah.
Bareka Dladla,
Go
go
Pimville.
Pimville.
Okay,
So,
okay.
the best of both.
Okay, no, I get
Yeah,
you. Fair
yeah.
enough. Go Zolman. Go Pimville Zolman.
Goes on 7.
Mara why?
Ngihlala kasi yaha.
Mara exhausted. Mara
exhausted.
So we get to meet later
Yeah,
on
but-
in life. Kodi partying, you know. I think I was still working for Smirnoff.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy who's so bubbly, all over. Kish. This guy was just promoting brotherhood, promoting friendship in all spaces the way you go. I mean, you are known as a socialite. You are known as a social being. I don't want to call you a social butterfly because social butterflies are those. But butterfly. So you are raising two boys.
Yeah, sure.
Is your father still alive?
No.
He passed on.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Actually, I think maybe I was around 10.
Yeah.
Let me just take you back a bit.
Sure.
So my father comes from Letsane as well.
Yeah.
Houses facing Zola.
Okay.
I never knew that he was my dad. So my
Okay.
dad was one of those guys who bought, beers and stuff for people
For everyone.
around. Yeah.
Okay. He was the guy to know.
No. He was one of those guys that they would send him to go and buy stuff for people.
I see.
And this guy, he liked me so much, man. But, I was young, being raised by a grandmother as well.
Yeah.
You looked
Yeah.
clean all the time.
All the time, because they don't make
but
a
this
mistake.
guy, I used to run away from him,
This particular
Yeah. Because every time when he saw me, he wanted to have a chat with me. But, I was young.
Yeah.
And because he was a bit dirty and, stuff.
But what did you want to chat to you about?
No, but remember I was young.
Okay.
I only reflect now.
Yeah, now that you're older.
Because I'm older. So my late grandmother told me that, then he died.
Yeah.
Then my late grandmother said, that guy, 1, 2, and 3. Then he said, that was your dad.
Sure.
I'm
That's how
telling
you found out?
Yeah. So she gave me an opportunity to. She actually asked me options to say,
Yeah.
"Do you want to go to the funeral or not?"
Okay.
But what I said to her was, "I want to go to the funeral."
Sure. To pay your last respects.
Yeah. My mother accompanied me and whatever. I didn't know the guy. Like
Yeah.
I know the house,
Yeah,
but
but you
I
didn't
don't know
know,
anyone,
yeah.
right? Then I went. And after that, I think nothing happened because
Sure.
I just didn't know the guy. But I don't know
Sure.
where I got the guts
To say you wanted to
I wanted
go.
to go.
Sure.
But now, the flip side,
Yeah.
my dad was not that guy.
Oh, that guy was not your dad.
No, he was that guy. But now I'm
Oh, I
saying
see.
life.
I see.
I think
Oh, it would
life
unfold
can- yes.
itself. Okay.
This guy was a guy with the 3-piece suits all the time. You know this.
The one who passed on.
Yeah.
This is your biological dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I'm talking about back then.
Back
Remember
then.
I said,
Yes,
let me
yes.
take it back.
Back, yes, yes.
Then I think something happened to this guy.
Right.
For whatever reason in life changed and whatever.
Yeah.
He became what I saw.
Right.
What I knew before I knew that he was my dad.
Sure,
So the
sure.
photos that I have
Of him. Yeah.
is a guy in 3-piece suits,
Right.
light skinned, nice beard.
Yeah.
He was a butterfly, like you said.
Sure.
I'm
Wow.
telling you.
But not
So-
the same guy you met.
Yeah. So
when
I
you-
don't know what happened to this guy.
Sure,
But I
sure.
I grew up knowing that this guy didn't like me. But now, because this guy gave me so much attention,
Yeah, like all of a sudden.
then I realized that there was something
That he knew.
between him and my mother that I was never told about
Right.
from Kohai.
Sure.
All I knew that this guy didn't like me.
Sure.
But I actually had a different perspective.
Sure.
And how I actually analyzed and observed the things that he did then and analyzed the situation and
Right.
realized that there was just something that was
That didn't
actually-
make sense. Yeah. So did you ever ask your mom what happened?
I did, but you know what, my brother? I think during that era back
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
you know what? It was what it is.
Yeah.
What it was.
Sure.
And the situation allowed them to say whatever they
Yeah,
wanted
and you have to
say.
take whatever they say, right?
That's
We
it.
couldn't
But
question them.
Now I make up my own
Yeah.
decisions in terms of what I think of the guy.
Sure. And how does it make you feel now in retrospect? Now you look back, you're a father yourself, you're raising your sons. Are you angry towards him for not even giving you the opportunity to get to know him?
Yeah, you know what? Whether I like it or not, it has a negative impact.
Sure.
As I grow.
Yeah.
And it affected me unaware.
Sure.
Because now I want to say this, that I got married when I was 27.
Sure, you're young, ne?
Yeah, very
Is
young.
that young? 27? Do
For
you
me,
consider
yes.
27
you
young?
know why? Because remember, I was not raised by both parents. I
okay.
only know one side.
One
of
side,
things.
okay.
So I had to learn to be a man.
Yeah.
To be a husband.
Yeah, and a lover.
Father. You get my point.
Okay.
So and along the journey, I made mistakes.
Sure.
And also when I go back and think, and I'm thinking to myself that I could have probably been a better guy because
I waited.
I only knew one side.
Sure,
you
sure.
know,
Which was your mom's point
side.
of reference.
Yeah, exactly.
And Macariza, obviously.
I mean, I remember, yes, of course. And I remember there was a time when my mother would actually try to mend things between myself and my ex-wife. But I actually thought that she was actually taking her side, not knowing or
that she was
realizing
protecting
that. You
the
get my point?
union, yeah.
But I wanted that masculinity that someone
Sure.
would actually tell me that, you know what?
I'm on your side. I'm in
yeah,
your
but
corner.
do 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
I've made so much mistakes and whatever. So it did have
Yeah.
a negative impact.
I can
whether I
imagine.
like it or not.
I can imagine. So I want us to talk about divorce, if you're comfortable to talk
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
of
And
course,
if there's anything that you're uncomfortable to talk about, please feel free, my brother. A lot of guys that I have a conversation with that have gone through divorce will tell you one thing, which is consistent. No one gets married to divorce.
No, of course.
No one gets married to divorce.
True that.
But the reality is that divorces do happen, and for various reasons. Yours, was it because you were too young? Was it because you guys hadn't found each other? What do you think were the real causes of the final decision for you guys to end the marriage?
You know what? Without blaming anyone,
Yeah,
I won't
sure.
blame anyone.
Sure, sure.
But I always find excuses in everything that I did.
Okay.
Or that I do. Because
Sure.
I always, maybe I'll blame divorce on my age.
Okay.
I'll blame divorce on not being raised by both parents.
Okay.
I'll blame divorce on not knowing how to
Sure,
deal with things.
sure.
But one thing I can tell you now, every child deserves to be raised by both parents. And you know, I know that you are friends with Craig Wilkinson.
Yes,
I also met the guy as
100%.
well. I still read his book.
Yes, it's Father Nation.
Yeah, and in that book, he says, the book titled Dead,
Yeah.
he says, if a father is alive,
Yeah.
but is not available physically,
Yeah.
I mean, emotionally
Emotionally, yeah.
and
And psychologically,
spiritually,
yeah. Yeah.
in a kid's life is like war and disease combined. If I have to quote him, right?
Yo.
But that, to me as well, these are one of the elements or factors that actually I realized about myself later to say, I think I could have been a better person. I'm not going to blame my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Probably the thing was, I think the issue was with me because I didn't know better. I didn't know what I know now, and based on the observation, on the conversations that we always have, So, but I realized that I could have been a better guy because I love family, I love unity. You get my point. But at the same time, I think it's just things that are around me, and the environment that actually, at the time, I would actually blame it on.
No, I get you. And that makes sense because, I mean, we all go through different experiences, right? So you are raising 2 boys. Did you ever have a conversation with them about the fact that you're going to separate from their mother? Or were they too young when the divorce was taking place?
I don't know when I started,
but
I can tell you now that it's a continuous conversation all the time.
It's never ending.
I think I did highlight that I never want to blame anyone, but situations around me. So even when I talk to them about divorce, I don't say the mother is wrong or whatever, but it's just about moving forward, focusing on what's best for them, what they should, something that you would never or should avoid affecting them psychologically. Those are just conversations that I actually have.
I love
that.
But
I actually do have conversation with them around
which is important because obviously you don't want them to now carry this generational thing of knowing which divorce is normal or whatnot.
And I mean, if I have to say, I mean, I had the best wife.
Of course.
We were best friends. But also, I think maybe another thing that I would actually blame on, taking back to my point, is that I think cohabiting to a great extent, as much as it's not allowed, that thing, my brother, I think it could have actually worked wonders.
Do you think it helps?
Yeah, because
so that you get to know the person.
Remember, I just come from back room. And then got married.
And then moved into a place.
House.
You didn't get to understand each other's habits.
She would just visit and all. So I didn't know myself in my own home.
With someone else.
With someone else now. You get my point. Those kind of things. I think there'll always be issues. As I say, I think I blame the situation. Not necessarily a person.
The person. No, and I like that because I think it's going to inform like as an insight for other people who are watching to say, yes, you can call it fat and set, call it what you want, but it's an opportunity to get to know this person's habits. Because to have someone coming and visiting a weekend is very different from living with that person. Because now this person is here.
And
now you're picking up habits. They won't behave the way.
No, you don't just talk.
Yeah. I like that. So Ntja, tell me, does the fact that your name is Ntja Daddy come with pressure? Is there an expectation for you to be the best daddy? Why did they call you Ntja Daddy? I've always wanted to know. How do Ntja? That means you are someone who's associated with being a people's person. Maria Daddy, it's okay.
Remember, I was named after my granddad.
Right.
So my mother is the only child.
Okay.
And I became the firstborn. So I became the father. You get my point. And then Ntja is derived from Njamenizer.
Yes.
My friend.
Yes.
My boy.
My
brother.
Yeah. My comrade.
Yes. Someone that I'm close to. You get my point.
Amazing.
So, and I embrace it, to be quite honest. And I don't think it's actually pressure, it's more of responsibility.
Right, that comes with the name.
Responsibility, because I watch my moves.
Sure.
And I always say, and I also say this to a case that every habit you get used to.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But always try to do good so that even when you do wrong,
it's
a mistake.
Yeah.
You get my point.
And
so I
acceptable.
always try to be on the right side of the law. And,
I like that. Yeah. I like that. What type of father are you? What kind of dad are you? Are you a cool dad? Are you that strict dad? Are you that fun dad? Gish, the way you're with us.
It's a journey. It's a journey, my brother.
Yeah.
I learn every day.
Sure.
And I say to the kids as well, I learn to be your dad all the time.
Sure.
Help me be the guy that you want me to be. We are crazy with the boys.
Right.
There are moments where it's not fun anymore.
Sure.
Because I'm trying to instill discipline.
Of course.
And more than anything is things that I realize that actually I want the best for them. And for me to actually have that, I have to be firm at some point.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
don't become the best dad.
Right.
But there are times
Unfavorable.
that
Yeah.
But I'm not hard.
Yeah.
I've never laid my hands on them.
Sure.
Because I realized that actually I was beaten for nothing back
It
then.
didn't
I
didn't
remember
help.
there was a
Never
time when I was
trapa.
beaten. Yeah,
It didn't help.
For lo dlala. Give me holiday, but lo dlala, but
But
you get my point.
late, and that time is like 5:30. It's just
You
that
get
it's
my
dark.
point.
It's in winter.
Yeah.
And that you have no control over. You're being a
Over.
child.
And you are a child.
You
my
are a
brother.
child.
You get my point. But one thing I can tell you,
Yeah.
I never call myself the best dad.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
a journey.
Sure.
And I take a lot from you guys.
Sure,
I mean,
sure. We feed
the
off each other.
framework that you do with your kids.
Sure,
And other
sure.
guys as well.
Of
and,
course.
You know, and also, I can just say I'm my own living testimony. Because I remember they once asked me, how come am I so connected and responsible to them? And I said, because I want them not to go through what I
you
went
went through.
And
Right.
remember, at the same time, I didn't know what I was going through then.
You didn't know. You couldn't.
I actually
make sense of it
realized
after
to say maybe certain mistakes that I've made.
Had to
It was
happen.
because 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and maybe they had
You
to
get my
happen.
point. Maybe they had
For
to
there
happen.
to be a lesson
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
So, your sons, what is your biggest wish for them as a dad? You know, we all want our kids to become something in life. But what is your greatest wish for your two boys?
Can I just encompass your question, just to say blessings? Anything that comes with blessings.
Oh, I like
you know,
that.
and also what I teach them is
Yeah.
that they must know how to do things for themselves,
Sure.
so they can be able to share
With
with
others.
others.
With
Because
others.
once you are okay,
Yeah, with
you are
self.
able to give.
Sure,
You get my point.
sure.
So, and selfishness is something that I don't like.
Absolutely.
And
It's unacceptable.
And also keep calm, my brother.
Yeah.
Everyone is important in life. Everyone is important.
Everybody.
You get my point.
Everybody.
So those are just things. One of the things that when I say blessings,
Yeah.
so that God can actually cover all aspects
Sure.
that I'm not touching on.
Sure.
But it comes in as a package.
Sure.
But
I
one
like
thing,
that.
know people and be grounded.
I like
and,
that.
And know
Yeah,
the
I
good
mean,
Lord.
being grounded is a big thing. It can take you everywhere.
No,
And
of
I
course,
wish
my
a lot
brother.
of people could
Life
appreciate it.
Life is people, Titi.
Yeah.
And people
You are the
alive.
people you
Done.
hang around with.
Done, my brother.
Tell me if there was an opportunity for you to say something to your late dad that you never had an opportunity to say because he passed on when you were very young. I'm sure there's a lot of things you would have liked to say to him. But if there's one or two things that you'd like to say to him, if he had to come here now for 2 minutes and say to you, I'm sitting here, what do you want to say to him?
Come back, my brother. Let's talk.
Sure.
Let's see how best I can try to be there for you. Whatever that you went through,
Yeah.
let me just try to cover that.
Sure.
I want to be your son, be my dad, and let's
Sure.
see. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you still acknowledge his role as a
of
father,
course.
even though he passed on when you were very young.
Of course.
You still acknowledge.
Yeah.
Do you think?
And also, I don't
Yeah.
even blame my mother because
Yeah,
this is what I
yeah,
said to her.
sure.
that, it was that era.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And now, let me just go back a bit.
Sure.
Titi, ne? If you remember very well, ne, we actually touched things on the surface.
Right,
Right.
right.
If you go back to what happened to our great grandfathers,
Yes.
mothers, and whatever,
Yes.
segregation
Yeah.
separated us
Yeah,
from
big time.
from being
the world.
families,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Black families.
Sure.
Because a dad would leave the house
To go
go
find a
and
job.
find a job
In a
So-
different province.
province,
In Gauteng.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was no affection.
Yeah,
There was nothing.
yeah.
And we grew up with the notion that we know that fathers are not involved.
providers.
And they are not even there
Yeah.
emotionally and
Sure,
otherwise.
sure.
And spiritually too.
Sure.
So, but now, if you think about it,
Yeah.
maybe this guy was there for me. But the situation at the
Didn't
time
allow him to be there
there,
emotionally
yes,
for you.
because it was a norm.
Yeah.
It was
actually a norm.
yes.
Like
you get my
Tamana
point.
Mang le kae, no, uspana kae
That's
kae.
the thing.
Utla kae Christmas fela.
You get my
or kadi-
point.
kadi school holidays.
Yeah, but segregation affected us greatly.
in different
But
ways.
hence I'm saying again, I don't want to blame anyone.
Sure,
But I can
sure.
take from this and say, how do we then come up with a solution
Sure.
to actually curb and actually
Sure.
break the curse?
Sure, I like that. Before you go, and I can't believe this show really overwhelms me at times because I realize how quickly the time goes. We're actually done. But
No, man.
and
Hey,
there's so
let's
much-
go.
And
Let's
there's
go.
so much to talk about, and I think it's important for you to come back because I think there's a whole new topic that we need to talk about around divorce, how it affects the kids, how it affects the two parties involved. Because let's be honest, some divorces can be messy. Some divorces even go as messy as being public.
True that.
And for me, it's always about what about the interests of the child or
Yeah.
the kids that are involved in the process of adults separating.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say around that?
Yeah, you know what? I've never said or posted or written anything bad about
Sure.
my exes.
Sure.
Whether it's my ex-wife
Yeah.
or maybe
Any other ex,
any
yeah,
other.
yeah.
And for same reason that you don't want to dwell on issues that actually break
Yeah.
our society.
Correct.
I want to build. It's not like because I'm hiding anything.
Yes.
But divorce, my brother,
Yeah.
you know it as well.
Yeah.
We always have these conversations.
Of course,
I
of course.
never encourage anyone to go through
go
a
through a
divorce
divorce,
because
yeah.
it's a scar.
It's a last resort.
It's a scar
Yeah.
and it's a lifetime scar.
Sure.
Some of the things that kids may not even share with us,
Yeah.
but I feel that, you know what, it's something that's broken and
Yeah.
something that they don't like. I
Sure.
don't like it myself. I
Sure.
wish actually things could be different,
Yeah.
but don't go through the process of divorce.
If you can avoid it.
If you can avoid it.
Yeah.
If you decide to get married,
Sure.
let it be a lifetime decision.
I like that.
Yeah.
Would you marry again? Would you ever consider getting married again?
You know, there's a saying that says,
Yeah.
never say never.
Ah.
You get my point.
Right.
At the time, you know, when you have mixed emotions,
Sure.
at the time, sometimes we say things that we don't mean.
Correct.
But in life, like I said, it's
Yeah.
a journey.
Yeah.
Along the way,
Life
life will
changes.
happen. Yeah.
I like
God is
that.
in control, my brother.
I like that because then it means you are open to whatever is capable of coming your way.
Of course.
You are open-minded about the fact
course.
that you could and you couldn't.
And I
Either
don't-
way, it depends.
I don't have my life keys, but God has.
I like that.
You get my point.
I
So
like
he'll
that. I
decide
like that.
to say,
I like
"Ntja,
that. Before you leave, one last parting shot. What message would you send to a guy out there who's considering getting a divorce? He's done. Like the marriage is not working. He's done for whatever reasons, but he's done. Like he wants to get into a process of filing for divorce. What do you say to that guy?
You know, there are retreats, right?
Yeah.
Camps and all. There's I want to go back to what one of my son's coach once said to me that
Sure.
what saved his marriage,
Yeah.
it was those retreats. But I think engaging in such conversations,
Sure.
like we're having now,
Sure.
and individually in groups, churches, and whatever, go
Sure.
through the therapy.
Sure.
Exhaust all avenues
Aha.
before you can actually maybe decide. Because remember,
Aha.
there's power in deciding to get married. You get my point?
Sure.
There's a reason why you decided to
decided
do
to
that.
commit.
You get my point?
Yeah.
But there could be something that actually lead to a regret
In the decision.
and the temporary
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
Because a decision to get married is
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lifetime, if not yeah.
Sure.
But the decision to say I don't want this anymore
Yeah.
is temporary.
Sure.
So make sure that whatever that you go through, you would have exhausted all avenues.
Sure.
And consult. You
Sure.
get my point. And also another thing I think that I nearly forgot.
Yeah.
We must also introspect.
Aha.
Because sometimes it's not the person that we are.
It's you.
It's you. It's
Yeah.
in.
It
It's
starts
with
with you.
Yeah.
It starts
So,
with you.
Yeah. I think
My brother.
And,
Sure.
and also pray.
Yeah.
And also be respectful and also always be humble.
Sure, my brother. Thank you for your time. One thing I've learned about this conversation is that it's important to avoid making temporary decisions that will have permanent repercussions.
True, that's tough.
And that's a strong message. And I thank you for sharing your story, your journey. I think you definitely have to come back. This is what it's about, getting men to conversate. MJITA, we don't like to talk much. We like to bottle things up until it's too late or until you cannot do anything about it. And this platform is encouraging any man, if you're out there, you're a man, whether you're single, married, divorced, or widowed, and you want to come and share your story, your journey, this is the platform for us. No topic, no agenda, unscripted.
Done.
Sbonge.
Sign.
Sanko Teddy.
Sign.
Ntja.
Ntja.
AMATYMA series.